the basic info is on prefilters.com.au. But essentially, I wanted a pre-filter to do everything that the Kangen wasn't designed to. Because the Kangen, technically, if you look at the ISO certifications, it's ISO certified to a medical device status. And so that's its main function. It's not out there to be a water filter. It has a basic filter in there that removes like chlorine, dirt, sediments, but it's not a filter. It's a medical device that has all these other features. We can't call it that due to the TGA in Australia, but it's registered as one in Japan. And so I wanted to remove all of the contaminants before the water became this transformed molecular hydrogen. And I started to look at what is the best medias to use to be synergistic with the Kangen water. And I found that in most of the options out there, they were just using like standard carbon or coconut carbon, activated carbon. Um, but I found a media called KDF, which is like this copper zinc media, that can remove lead, chlorine, hard water, minerals, iron, hydrogen sulfide, mercury, nickel, cadmium, magnesium, and even microorganisms like bacteria, algae, and fungi. The great thing about that is it's actually converting harmful substances into harmless substances. It's not just filtering them. Another benefit is that it increases the carbon that it's combined with by 30%. And a lot of the reason why manufacturers say you must replace your water filter after a year, even if you're not using it, is because they don't want microorganisms to grow in the filter if it's not used. And I find having the KDF in there just gives it an extra bit of peace of mind that that media is helping to prevent the microorganisms from growing. I then combine that with catalytic carbon, which is more effective than any other carbon. Um, like most carbons will not touch the chloroamines, hydrogen sulfides, even those new forever chemicals, PFOAs and PFOSs. Catalytic carbon is effective at removing some of those. But also any volatile organic compounds, heavy metals, pharmaceuticals, pesticides, herbicides, disinfection byproducts from other organic chemicals from tap water. So from a sanitizing point of view and removing all the nasties, those two work really well together. But again, going back to like the electrolysis, how does that work? What does the machine need? It needs minerals for the power to sort of um, for the machine to apply power, minerals carry the electricity, the electrons, to the electrodes. And so if you don't have enough minerals in your water, you're not going to get enough power for the machine to work properly. So I've looked at, okay, what minerals is the positively charged ones the machine's using to help make molecular hydrogen? I've then found media, natural mineral rocks that include those minerals and added that into the filter. So the filter's adding more of those minerals back in and trace elements, which is another reason why no one should ever be drinking reverse osmosis because it demineralizes our water and we don't pee out reverse osmosis water. When we pee out, it is our blood that has been filtered and it is osmotically balanced. And if those minerals are in the urine, where they come from, if they weren't in the water, it comes from us, we become demineralized. And you can never match the natural origin of the trace elements and the minerals present in our water with a remineralizing cartridge. It's just not going to happen. So I prefer to be more specific about getting out the contaminants of the water in the first place, adding even more minerals and trace elements for our health, and also for the machine to function better. So I put that in one filter, and then leave the second filter for just specifically fluoride, the three forms of fluoride, because it's very difficult to remove fluoride. And I found it very frustrating that most of the ones out there on the market, Cara, was only removing 97% for 2,000 liters or less. So you're constantly having to remember, where am I up to? And am I changing the filter often enough to remove the fluoride? And so we got one developed that uses a proprietary technology that removes down to zero point 0.1 ppm, which is like 99% for 6,000 liters. So now it just conveniently matches, actually a little bit more than 6,000, but it matches the liters on the Kangen internal filter, which is great with the K8 because you know you can go into settings and click filter life and it shows you how much is left. And when it's finished, it says, hey, replace the filter. If you have these pre-filters at the same time as when you install a new filter, Now it just reminds you replace the filters and you replace both at the same time. And so I just like, yes, that's a real good convenient way that everyone doesn't have to remember when to replace their filter and they're just getting the best performance out of their filters. But I also have a passion for those who may be on tank water or bore water and having issues with really acidic water. So I design water filters that help mediate those concerns too. And I'm working on a really special filter that adds more additional minerals and has some real cool new features that boost the molecular hydrogen of the water. And I'm hoping that will lead to even more molecular hydrogen that's added to what the Kangen's currently doing.